Who did Jesus Christ come to serve? Or let's even back up. Who is Jesus Christ? Well, according to Jesus Christ, and those who knew him and experienced him and saw his resurrection, he is God. According to God, in the Old Testament scriptures, he is God, which means that he is all-powerful, creator of all things, sustainer of all things, giver of all life, eternal, no beginning and no end. So when Jesus came to earth, he came to earth in the midst of his enemies. We know that those who walk in sin, who walk in the flesh, are at enmity with God. And the religious rulers of the time, the ones that were thought to be closest to God, were actually, in some ways, the furthest away. He was probably the angriest with them. And yet he came here, not to lord over us, not to wag his finger in our faces, not to rub our noses in our sin, while we are enemies with him. He came and served us. He came to serve. In his 3.5-year ministry, he cleansed that entire area of all diseases. We see him over and over, without question, love on people who don't deserve it, did nothing to merit it. People who are idol worshipers, pagan worshipers, people who make a living by sinning against God. People who cared nothing for God, only themselves. And Jesus Christ doesn't hesitate to serve. You and I, at one point, were enemies with God. Jesus served us. And he goes a step further. He doesn't just serve all of these people who are his enemy. He gives his life up for them, so that they might be ransomed out of the slavery of sin. He himself drinks from the cup of the wrath of God, so that his enemies didn't have to. Not his friends, not good people, not wholesome people, sinners, enemies. When we think about it like that, when we were reminded of those things and we meditate on that for a second, a moment or two, how does that change your posture towards the people in your life and the people in the world? It is so easy to get self-righteous and angry and indignant as we read the headlines, as we scroll through Facebook and we see the varying opinions that aren't ours, as we see different political leaning signs being put on our neighbors' lawns that aren't ours, as we go out to the diner and we see people that are just drenched in sin and rebellion to God. Is your heart posture the way Jesus's did? Is it your thought, man, how can I serve that person? I got to be honest with you, that's not always my heart. It takes some reminding. I need to remember the posture of Jesus. Verse 44 is a powerful verse. It really is the big idea of the entire book of Mark. This is what Mark has been leading up to try to make clear that more than anything else, this very verse, for even the Son of Man came not to be served. If there was ever anybody who had the right to flex his power and his authority and make others submissive to him, it is Jesus Christ. But he didn't. He put that away. And he came humbly as a servant to serve. Not to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many. Maybe our ministries and our evangelistic outreach and all of that isn't as successful as we would like it to be, not because we don't have the right programming or the right things to say or enough knowledge. Maybe our heart's not postured properly. Maybe our heart needs to be more like Jesus than it's been. That we become broken and saddened and want to even lay down our lives to see to it